No more undefeated teams. The Eagles lost to the Jets and the 49ers lost to the Browns. So the 72 Dolphins popped the champagne, and now there's a bunch of 5-1 football teams. Let's dive deeper into that win yesterday. What is up, Finn fans? How y'all doing on this Victory Monday? It's good Victory Monday. Like I said in yesterday's post-game recap, whatever you want to call it. 14-0. And then the Dolphins offense and the defense did not let up, and we ended up winning 42-21. It should have been 42-14. Mike White throws a pick six. It is what it is. But there's a lot that I want to talk about, a lot we're going to talk about. So many stats I'm going to give you. We're going to talk a little bit more about this game. A lot of good stuff. Again, just a little quick recap. Eagles lost to the Jets. 49ers lost to the Browns. No more undefeated team. And that Jets-Bills game. Talk about not getting calls. Straight up pass interference. I'll pop the picture up. Pass interference. So pass interference to get the ball on the one, and then pass interference again, but they didn't call it, and the Bills ended up beating the Jets. The Bills ended up beating the Giants. Dumb play by Dable. You got Tyrod Taylor. I say you do a PA, have him run it in for a touchdown, a little bootleg or something, but that's PI. It is what it is. Let's jump into this stuff. So Tua Tagovailoa, 1,876 passing yards. That is first in the NFL. 14 touchdowns. That is tied for first in the NFL. 5 interceptions is tied for fourth most in the NFL, but there's a lot of them ahead of him with 6, 7, and 8 interceptions. 114.1 passer rating. That is number 1 in the NFL. 71.6 completion percentage. That is number 2 in the NFL. He is first in touchdowns per attempt, first in yards per attempt, and first in yards per completion. There is one stat that he isn't first in, and this is going to surprise the crap out of you because it surprised the crap out of me. Time to throw. Now, I'm not talking about release time because a lot of people will be like, hey, his time to throw is low because he gets the ball out quick. That is not what time to throw is. Time to throw is the amount of time he has in the pocket before a defender gets to him. And Tua Tagovailoa has 2.3 seconds time to throw. That is ranked 35th in the NFL. 35th in the NFL. Blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. And the crazy thing, that's like last in the NFL. The names of people that are ahead of him when it comes to time to throw, that have more time to throw, is ridiculous. Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts. Well, Jalen Hurts, Deshaun Watson, like they have good offensive lines. Justin Fields has more time to throw. Zach Wilson has more time to throw. Jimmy Garoppolo, Bryce Young, who has a bad offense. Joshua Dobbs has more time to throw. Derek Carr. I'm trying to find people though. Daniel Jones has more time to throw. 2.73 seconds. He has about 0.4 seconds more to throw. Again, it's semantics. It's not that. Mac Jones more time to throw. 2.53. It just blew me away when I saw that. I'm like, Dolphins offensive line is doing pretty good. He only had 6 sacks on the season so far, and he's dead last with time to throw. Did not expect that at all. Then we talk about the running backs, and for the first time in a long time, I can give you running back stats on the Deeper Dive Mondays, because normally I don't, because there's not much to talk about because we can't run the ball. Raheem the Dream Mostert, 429 rushing yards, 7th in the NFL. 9 rushing touchdowns, that is number 1 in the NFL. He averages 5.72 yards per attempt. It is the second best to Bo Jackson all time. That's a good place to be. And then you have Devon Achane, He 460 yards is still third, even though now he's missed one game. He's missed like 2 games. 5 touchdowns is tied for third in the NFL. And I had to do the math on this, right? Because he's only had 38 attempts, but he has 460 rushing yards. That equates to 12.1 yards per attempt. That man is just, I can't wait to get him back. But that is your running backs. Then you got the wide receiver, which is Tyreek Hill. 814 yards is number one in the NFL. 6 touchdowns, number one in the NFL. Second most yards through 6 games all time, receiving yards, is Tyreek Hill. Now, I noticed something that is a narrative out there about Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa, and it's that that's all. If Tyreek Hill's not on the field, Tua's gonna crumble, or all Tua does is throw to Tyreek Hill. He doesn't throw to anyone else. And the fun fact, he's missed he's had 60% of the snaps because he gets cramped up and gets off the field. I think for one of our touchdown drives yesterday, he got cramped up after a big run and was off the field while we scored a touchdown. But I thought of that, right? And I'm like, all they do is target him, right? So Tua has 1,876 passing yards, 814 of them go to Tyreek Hill, which means 1,062 receiving yards goes to the rest of the team, which is more than half. Then I was like, let me look at the targets, because Is it a big proportion of targets? Well, Jamar Chase is targeted 73 times. The Los Angeles Rams wide receiver Puka is targeted 70 times. Stephon Diggs is targeted 66 times. Michael Pittman is targeted 60 times. A.J. Brown is targeted 60 times. And Tyreek Hill is targeted only 59 times. So you have Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, all targeted more than Tyreek Hill. I understand he has more yards, but that's just, he's ridiculous after he has the catch. So I was like, let me look this up, because I think it's funny that people have to post these ridiculous narratives about he only targets so and So does every quarterback. Why is it such a bad thing for Tua to be in a system that fits him and have weapons whenever other quarterbacks have it and no one complains about it or says anything? I just find it funny, so I wanted to bring up some facts. Throw it at you. Defensive side. I want to talk about one thing that I noticed on the defensive side, and that is the pass rush. Now, we had 4 sacks yesterday. Should have been more. But there's a next-gen stat that I saw that really, really surprised me, right? And that is this one here. It's going to cover me, so you're not going to see me, but you hear me. Defensive pass rush, average separation from the quarterback. Now, with this one, you want to be under the black line, right? You want to be under the black line. League average is 4.56 yards. Essentially what this is when the quarterback throws the ball, how far are you from him when he throws the ball? And if you look, Jalen Phillips is well below the league average. So is Christian Wilkins. So is Bradley Chubb. He's not well below, but he's below the league average, which surprised me. Steelers right at the league average. But look how low Jalen Phillips is. And then again, this was against I'm pointing my hand like you could see me. This was against the Panthers. What I'll do is we'll look at the other ones for the other games. But you see Brian Burns. Trade for him, Miami. Trade for him. Our offensive line was keeping him at bay. But let's look at the other ones. This was the Giants game. Wow. Andrew Van Ginkel and Sealer were kind of struggling there. But Bradley Chubb, he was getting after him when it came to the ball being released. And, kind of the same here. That's surprising. Christian Wilkins. See, this makes sense now. We couldn't get a pass rush on him. Bradley Chubb was over the league average. Andrew Van Ginkel was over the league average. Steeler was over the league average. You see, 2 sacks from AVG against Buffalo. And Christian Wilkins was he was below league average. This was the Denver game. Bradley Chubb, you got to get the sacks, man. If you're getting close enough to him when he's throwing the ball, you got to finish it. Roquan Davis was not doing good, and Wilkins and Sealer were kind of there. But Bradley Chubb, man, you got to finish. If you're that close when he gets rid of the ball, you're about 3 yards away. You gotta got to finish, man. This is the Patriots. Again, Bradley Chubb. He's the lowest. Ginkle's right there, but Bradley Chubb. So Bradley Chubb is getting there. Let's see what it's like for the Chargers game. Chargers game, we barely getting pressure on them. If you could see, we're kind of around that average. Phillips is a little lower, but Bradley Chubb was over. We were kind of at that average. But I wanted to show you that because they're getting close and they're below the league average, especially Bradley Chubb, which was surprising. They got to finish. Like you saw with Jalen Phillips yesterday, he was well below the league average. He was around 3 yards before when, the ball. They got to finish. They got to, especially Jalen Phillips. I was talking about this on the live stream. He does a lot of outside moves, and he uses his speed rush. He's got to utilize the spin, the inward spin or something, go inside after the quarterback. But it was a surprising stat. They got to finish. They got to get after that quarterback. Yesterday, Tua Tagovailoa was blitzed 52.2% of the time, and he was sacked 0 times. Again, that is a good part of the offensive line. 41 points in the final 2 minutes of the first half. The Miami Dolphins have scored. That is number 1. And most touchdowns through the first 6 games, 11. Raheem Mostert is tied with 2018. Todd Gurley. Miami Dolphins at home this season, 47.7 points per game, 558 total yards per game, 8.8 yards per play, 244.7 rushing yards per game, 313.3 passing yards per game, and a point differential of 86. That is all the best in the NFL. The Miami Dolphins average 49.87 yards per offense per game. The next closest team, the Kansas City Chiefs, average 116.4 yards per game less. What is their number? I don't know why he couldn't just give me the number. Now he's making me do math. Let me take out my calculator. Hold on. 498.7 minus 116.4 equals. So the Miami Dolphins average 498.7 yards per game, offense per game. The next closest is the Chiefs with 382.3. Miami's offense is just being ridiculous at this point. But those are the stats. Those are my deeper dive stats for you, and they're ridiculous. Like I showed you some on the defensive side. It's surprising, but they do need to do better. On the offensive side, we're just steamrolling people. And again, you only play cupcake teams. I'll say this, and I'll pull up. I got stats for you guys. I give you excuses from time to time. I'll throw an excuse at you here and there, but I got stats for you. You got stats to back it up. You play cupcake teams. You put up points and put up yards against bad teams. Well, this Thursday, the Denver Broncos held the Chiefs to what? I think 18 points when they turned it on. The Dolphins dropped 70 on them. The New York Giants. Dolphins had 326 yards and 17 points versus the Giants at halftime last week, despite 2 turnovers. And where were the Bills at halftime? Wasn't it like 9-0? It was 6-0 at halftime. We only put up high points and high scores against bad teams, yet the better teams, like the Bills who beat us, couldn't do it against the Giants. The Kansas City Chiefs couldn't do it against the Broncos. I'm not saying we're better than them, but what I'm saying is you can't discount what the Miami Dolphin offense is doing because of their competition. Because if you look at other teams, better teams, versus the same competition, they're not doing as well. So it's something to take into account because, again, we get discredited for being 5-1 because of who we played. I don't hear anyone discrediting the Philadelphia Eagles last year for making the Super Bowl. They had a cakewalk. They faced the Giants. They faced the 49ers, who are on their 4th string quarterback. Throughout the whole season, I think they've played like 2 or 3 good teams. But I don't hear anyone saying, oh, the Eagles, this, and that. They didn't deserve to be in the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. It just makes me laugh that, like, you look at what the Dolphins are doing 5-1 for the first time since 2002. And you got such, like, such people that are just like, yeah, this don't matter. Like Bill fans, play a good team. Hey, Bill fans, name a good team that you beat. I'll wait. Name a good team that you beat. Comment it below. Let me know, Bill fans, if you're watching. Name a good team that you beat. Let's see. But I'm excited. All I'm thinking about now is the Eagles. And what I'm thinking about what the Jets did to the Eagles. I'm thinking about Fangio's with the Eagles for a year. He knows the ins and outs of that offense. He needs to get this ship straight when it comes to the defense. Now, with the Panthers, we held them to 14 points on defense and 296 yards on offense. We did well on defense. The second and third drive sucked. They marched down the field, scored a touchdown. Outside of that, the Dolphins defense did what they needed to do. We got the pressure, we got the sacks. Fangio dialed up the blitz when he needed to. But this Eagles game to me will dictate. Can you hang? Can you hang with the Eagles? Can you hang with the Chiefs in Germany? Can you hang with these teams, the Baltimore Ravens, the Dallas Cowboys, even though some might think that the Dallas Cowboys aren't a team that you can hang with? Even the Jets. The Jets, to me, is a test for this offense. Can this offense put up these type of numbers against a defense like the Jets? It's going to be very interesting, and now is the battle. 5-1. 5-1. 2002 was the last time we were 5-1. Enjoy it. Like I said, normally, Sunday, Monday, enjoy it. Tuesday, we do the film breakdown, which is kind of coinciding in a transition to the next week because we're seeing where we need to get better, yada, yada. And then on to the Eagles. Sunday Night Football. I don't know if my dad's going to be live streaming, just to let you guys know, because it's a Sunday night game. I don't know if he's got to be up early, but let's go, baby. Let's get this W. Let's go to 6-1. Let's shut a lot of people up. But like usual, stay classy. Offense out.